Hello again and welcome to AC Press and the Spanish Evangelical Alliance with this week's letter from England. Eliseo Gómez-Lor Pérez, President of the Spanish Evangelical Alliance's Commission of Religious Liberty, has reported recently on the situation of religious intolerance and persecution in the state of Chiapas in Mexico. For a number of years now, evangelical Christians in the region have been the victims of violent persecution. On the one hand, the Catholic community, which dominates the entire region, does everything possible to boycott any activity carried on by these believers. That includes not only religious but also civic activities. It prevents them from sending their children to school, from being recognized as citizens who have the right to live in the area, and so on. And all this is carried out officially with the sanction of city authorities across the region. On the other hand, there have been attacks from the Zapatista army, or at least from some of its members, against these Christians for the simple reason that they're Protestants. Well, the suffering endured by evangelicals in Chiapas takes many different forms. It's included beatings, the reading of official decrees where they are disowned as members of the community in order to leave their homes, the destruction of church buildings where they meet, the cutting off of the water supply to their homes for refusing to contribute financially to Catholic celebrations, and even murders have taken place. Well, it was in this context, or against this background of chronic persecution, last year that 22 evangelicals, including a pregnant woman, were expelled from the community of Lázaro Cárdenas for professing a non-Catholic religion and for refusing to participate in the local Catholic festivities. Of this group, 11 were housed in the town of San Cristóbal de las Casas, whilst another 11 were displaced to another town. 11 months on, after having been expelled from their community, the adults have lost their jobs and their cooperative farming rights, the children's studies have been discontinued, the families have lost their homes, their belongings, their crops and animals, as well as their peace and their dignity. Mexico's National Commission of Human Rights has finally denounced these actions and issued a recommendation earlier this year addressed to certain authorities in the state of Chiapas, to the governor, the parliamentary speaker, and members of Huictán City Council, the body responsible for the area in which these expulsions took place. And the recommendation urges them to adopt measures for peaceful coexistence and to respect the rights to freedom of belief. The recommendation is not mandatory, but it cannot be ignored either. And it's also an important precedent as far as other similar situations are concerned. It's a measure of hope for evangelicals in the area that finally the authorities are taking notice of their suffering and trying to do something about it. Well, after presenting this report, the Spanish Evangelical Alliance commented, "We cannot help but identify with our brothers and sisters in Mexico, and we ask God to strengthen them, and that these episodes of religious intolerance in the entire, or across the entire state of Chiapas, will come to an end. May the authorities take a stand on the issue and protect religious freedom and heed the recommendations of the National Commission of Human Rights." Finally, it asks people to sign a petition which is to be sent to the Secretary of the Chiapas government, and it's to be hoped that all these actions will soon have an effect at bringing to an end the persecution of evangelical Christians in the state of Chiapas. Thank you for listening to Letter from England, broadcasting each week at emission.net. Goodbye for now.